Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and I make videos on books, writing and cozy lifestyle. And let's get on with the video today because we are just going to be sitting down and having a chat. Like, that's what's going on here. So do grab yourself a warm beverage and a blanket if you need one, and let's settle in whilst I give you some updates on what's been going on. So we're approaching the end of the year and I just wanted to make this video because I feel like I've not been honest or like open or vulnerable with you guys like for a lot of this year, and that's because of many reasons. Like, I have actually had some secrets I've needed to keep, mainly just because I've been in a waiting stage of my life all year really, and that's been quite difficult. I obviously didn't want to share too many things because, you know, if they don't happen then, you know, that's not great. But also there is that vulnerability piece which I've not been very good at this past year on my channel. And I always appreciate when the YouTubers I watch let the viewers into their lives. So like, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little life update, what's been happening this past year, because it's probably been one of the biggest years and also one of the most disappointing in some ways, and that's because of multiple reasons. So I think let's first talk about some of the positives and the exciting things that have been going on this year. One of which is I have a new job role, which I feel like every single time I do one of these updates, I've got a new job role, but that is because a lot has happened work-wise this year, and due to kind of changes in the company, it has meant that I have stepped up to be the publicity director for the whole of the adult book publishing for Bonnier Books UK. Honestly, I didn't obviously think that that would really be something that I would be doing, because when I moved jobs last year, I applied to be PR director, so leading the team and heading up publicity efforts for all of our books. But I kind of applied for one part of the company, so one division, and those divisions have now been brought all together, so it's one big adult publishing list. And my job now includes kind of all of that, which is really exciting. So I get to kind of run a team, I get to work on obviously campaigns myself, but also like the strategic piece, that's something I really enjoy. So actually working out the PR strategy and being really involved in everything from quite a senior level. So that's been something that's really been exciting this year, but it has come with a lot of adjustment because obviously it's quite a big step up from just being responsible for the PR for one area of a company and then being responsible for all of the areas and kind of, you know, every single imprint, every single type of adult book publishing. I'm the kind of most senior publicist in that. So job-wise, it's been very challenging, but really rewarding, but also a lot to adjust to. And that's why my content has probably been a little bit like inconsistent. And I really hate not having consistent YouTube videos going up every week. But honestly, like, I've only had the mental bandwidth to do so many videos. So that has been one kind of shift this year that I'm still finding my feet with in terms of like work-life balance and balancing a persona where I have a senior job role and not wanting to overshare on the internet and, you know, provide a conflict between those two areas. That has been something that I've been juggling this year, but really, really exciting. I'm really enjoying the new role, but I am ready to see what 2025 brings with that as well. And then let's talk about writing. I don't even know where to go with this, because if you've been watching my writing vlogs, you kind of might know where I'm at with my writing. So if you're new here, last December, I signed with my first literary agent. I've been wanting to be a writer for as long as I can remember. I've been writing stories, and I finished a book that was historical fantasy and kind of Bridgerton meets The Secret History. And that was the project that I got my literary agent with. And I absolutely adore my agent. She's amazing. She completely got my book and like what I was trying to do. And we went out on submission in February this year. Now, when you go out on submission, this is basically where you've been working on your book. Sometimes you've been working on edits with your agent. Then your agent submits your book to publishing houses. So different editors across the publishing industry. And we actually went out in the UK and the US simultaneously. And we went out just before London Book Fair, which is usually in March. So we went out a few weeks ahead of that. And honestly, like, I was very nervous about this. I think it's because I work in the industry myself. I know how competitive it is, and I also know how few authors are full-time authors. Like, it's really a small percentage of like authors that I work with who do writing as their full-time job. And you guys might be surprised to hear that because like you know, being an author is a job, and they get paid to do that. But it's really slim pickings. Like, not many people have the 6-figure book deals, the 7-figure book deals, the movie rights, all of that. Like, that really is not common. So I really was trying to temper my expectations, and the main thing that was important to me was just that this book got published so that you guys could read it, so that people could just see and read this project that meant so much to me. And I don't want to give away too many details because there is still shape for things to happen, but in my head that project is done. So we did not get a book deal. I still haven't got a book deal with that project. And another surprising thing is like how often this happens as well. The more and more people I'm speaking to where they've just had a book fail on submission, the book has died on submission and no one's picked it up. I did get really lovely feedback from so many editors, and you know, like, yeah, it's been such an enlightening process, but it's also been quite a crushing process. And I do want to make a separate video on how it feels to have your book fail on submission. Yeah, it's a difficult one because like I don't want to be too vulnerable and kind of like, oh guys, like this is really sad, and you know, it is crushing, like I'm not gonna lie, but there is still potential that somebody could still pick it up. And I've seen it happen too, where an editor will have a book for sometimes over a year in their inbox, and they'll decide to make an offer on a book, even though it's been out on submission for over a year. And this does happen. So that's not to say that this book will never see the light of day. There's also another route for the book, which is if I get a book deal with my current work in progress, which I'll come on to in a second, if that sells, then there is the potential that publisher would want to pick up the first book as well. So yeah, there's different options, but this really was like the first project that I fell in love with, and there's still nothing I would change about this process. I really believe that everything happens for a reason, and what is meant for you will not pass you by. And people might not agree with that like framing, but I have to believe that. There's a reason why this book didn't get bought, and we just have to see what plays out. Which brings me on to my current work in progress. So this really is the book that has been a labor of love for the past, God, I mean, I started it a year ago properly. So last NaNoWriMo in November, I started this project for the first time. So it's been over a year of working on this book. But I would say between the months of June, like maybe May, June, and start of December, I have written the bulk of this project. Now this is because I really wanted to be working on this whilst my other project was out in submission. I just could not concentrate, and like, I think this is the other thing that like, I wish I just gave myself some grace. I don't know, like put a lot of pressure on myself to be working on a new project and writing a new project when this other book was on submission. And I couldn't, my creativity, the well was empty. I felt so much pressure being on submission that like, I just couldn't create with that going on as well. But I think when it became clearer that nothing was really happening with the other book on submission, I decided that I need to focus on this new project. So this new project I'm titling Project Shadow, and I'm pitching it as kind of like North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell meets Kingdom of the Wicked. It is a Victorian historical romantasy book and is really kind of set in the Victorian era, following a young woman who is obsessed with all things spirituality, and she really wants to develop her mediumship. So this is really inspired by the Victorian fascination with the occult, with spiritualism, and even down to Queen Victoria herself. She was engaging with mediums, she was hosting seances. Like, I can't tell you how prevalent this was in the Victorian era, especially after the death of Prince Albert as well. So that was kind of my primary inspiration. It's like a girl who's obsessed with reaching the other side and, you know, communicating with the dead. Set in the Victorian era, but also set in the northeast of England. And it's really set around a mining community, which is my background. So like, I'm from the northeast of England where the book is actually set. And my whole family, like both sides of my family, were involved in the mining industry. And mining is a big part of my family. Like the Richardsons are like, it's a lot of mining info there, okay guys? Everyone's very passionate about mining, which actually inspired me really to write that into the novel. So it's set around the mining industry, and then there are demons. There are demons. And if you've ever seen the BBC adaptation of North and South, or you've read the book, you know the kind of like tension there between industry and the kind of like old England, and, you know, the North versus the South, kind of like new money versus old money, all sorts of themes that come out of that book and that TV show. And that was kind of the basis for me for the romantic pairing as well. So the romance in this is by far my favorite romance I've ever written. And what happens when a woman who wants to be a medium falls in love with a demon? Like, only you can find out in this book. So yes, I am about 75,000 words into this project. My target word count is probably about 110,000, and I love it so much. And this one, I really hope to get ready to go on submission again at the beginning of next year. And, you know, that'll really depend on what my agent says in terms of like if she thinks it's like strong enough, and because she hasn't read it yet, and really what her edits are going to be when she reads the book. So I am so excited about this book, and I really hope you get to read this and my other book one day. But that's a little writing update from me. It's been an odd year for writing, and no one really tells you like when you've worked so long to even just get an agent. Like, that's a whole situation, a whole different process in itself. But then when you've got the agent, you still have to try and get a book deal, and that's not a given. It's not a promise that you're gonna get a book deal. Like, lots of authors don't. They just never get a deal. So that is a possibility as well. Like, we just don't know. So that's the writing section of this video. And then let's talk about something personal, like my actual like rest of my life that's not kind of like YouTube, work, or writing focused, which is leaving London. Now, this is going to probably be a theme of next year's videos, and I do want to take you on the journey with me because we're trying to buy a house. And let's just say, wow, it's been a process, and we are not buying in London. We do not have the money to buy in London. Like, it is a very, very expensive city to buy a house in, but also I don't think I would want to live in London. Like, I want space, I want a garden, I want, I don't know, just a slower pace of life. And this is something that I think for next year, I'm really going to be focusing on the cozy, the small, the soft life as well. And, you know, moving out of London is a big part of that. So our goal is to move to the one of the home counties, so kind of what the counties at the bottom of the country, just outside of London. So I'd still be working in London and commuting in. But we have had an issue this year, which is we found what we thought was our dream house, and we put an offer in which got accepted. And finally, like, after a year of feeling like a failure, I mean, that's deep, guys, you know, I'm being over dramatic, but with the book not working out, you know, feeling a lot of stress from my career and everything else, I was like, finally something is moving in the right direction. We have bought a house, and we're moving through that house buying process. And then literally a few weeks ago, 2 months into getting our offer accepted and working towards, you know, with conveyancers and mortgage brokers, and, you know, we were quite into the process, the sellers decided to pull out the sale. And honestly, like, it's hard not to get into that mindset of like the victim mentality, like, woe is me, like all these bad things are happening in my life right now. But I did kind of slip into that a little bit. I was like, I've got nothing to show for the last year, for 2024. That is so dramatic. And like, yeah, feel free to call me a drama queen. But that's the thought process I had. I was just like, what have I got to show for this year? You know, it does require you to take a step back and be like, well, it's not rejection, it's redirection. And I've got to remember that, because like, there might have been some reason why that house just wasn't the right fit for us. So I've got to remember that. But yeah, January, we're going to be starting the home buying search all over again. We are literally back to square one. And oh God, guys, yeah. So the rest of the year is all about the novel. We have to finish the novel. And then hopefully next year will be a year that will be very different, at least I'm hoping. What I have really appreciated this year though is I feel like I found you guys. In the sense where I've never had such a great reaction to a lot of my videos. Like, the views have been great, like a load of new subscribers have joined this channel, and I feel like something's connecting. And even though my uploads aren't regular at all, I really feel you guys there, and I appreciate every single one of you who clicks on a video and watches it. To those of you who leave the comments, thank you. Like, I love communicating with you, and I just wish that there were other forums where I could do that. I guess like I'm trying to be a bit more present on Instagram, so do follow. I'm at BookBellReads on Instagram. But I just wanted to say like thank you for all your support this year. Like, it has meant a lot, and actually YouTube has been one of those creative outlets that I've really appreciated, because like it has been going right, if that makes sense. Like, I might not have like the most subscribers in the world, but I have you guys who really seem to enjoy my content, and especially those of you who tune into my writing content. I appreciate you so much, because like you get what I'm trying to do, and I really appreciate, yeah, those of you who are watching every video, and you know, all your support. I do have something for you in terms of like a question. I would love you to let me know what you want to see next year. Do you want more writing content? Do you want more romantasy content? Because that's another area of my channel that honestly, if you'd have asked me 2 years ago what would get the most views on my channel, I would not have said, oh, fantasy romance, romantasy. Like, but that has been so great for me, because I adore romantasy. I am writing a romantasy book right now, and you guys really connect with my romantasy content, and I love that. So if you'd like to see more of that, please let me know in the comments. You know, this is your channel as well, so I really want to be making videos that are just what you want to see. So please do leave me a comment, let me know, what do you want to see next year? Do you want more, I don't know, like live writing sprints? Do you want more reading vlogs? Like, let me know what you'd like to see next year, and I cannot wait to see what the next year brings. I will be keeping you guys up to date along the way, and I just want to let you know that if you also feel like you've not accomplished anything in 2024, you're looking back and you're like, what the hell was that year? I am right there with you, and it doesn't mean that you haven't accomplished anything, because like surely your mindset will be somewhat different at the end of the year than it was at the beginning of the year. And I think like hopefully every year is moving us closer to the people we want to become and the things that we want. So I think give yourself some grace as well, like enjoy the festive period if you celebrate it, and try to slow down. Try to appreciate the little things that you did accomplish this year, even if that's getting yourself to a better mental state, reading a book a month, whatever it is. Like, everybody has something that's worth celebrating, is what I want to say. Anyway, nice cheesy end to the video here. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But no, I really appreciate every single one of you, and I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching me ramble on for a while. My tea is now cold, so thank you again for watching. And if you haven't yet followed me on social media, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Blue Sky, there you go, all at BookBellReads. And please don't forget to like this video if you did enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye!